Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Love and Life Elevated. I'm Dr. Debra Rouse.
And I'm Dr. James.
And today is a fun day for me because I get to interview Dr. James here. And it's something I love an interview format for a podcast or video. And I'm super excited that I get to be the questioner of you today. And this is all in celebration and honor of your new book, DIEM, The Art of Every Day. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for this book to make its way into every living room, into every hand. And I can't wait to ask you some fun questions about it. And mind you, James has no idea what I'm going to ask him about. But before we...
Should I be nervous?
Possibly. Well, you may be on the spot, but I think that's okay. But before we even get to that, congratulations.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I think it's like the best book you've written yet. And this is, what is it, number 13 or 14?
It's number 14, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I was thinking, as you said that, I was thinking about our first book, remember? Grow Your Life.
Oh, yes.
And how many errors.
No, what I remember is the hair.
I had some great...
The cover hair.
Feathered hair. I mean, this was how many years ago? Like 16 years ago, I think, when we wrote it. And how many...
I should have pulled out a copy. Well,
we'll do that for another time.
For the archives, yeah.
Anyway, thank you, sweetheart. I love this book for many reasons. And, you know, it's the culmination of a question I think I've gotten over the last, 20 plus years, which is constantly people asking. Patients ask me when I'm doing a speaking event, when I'm taking Q&A at the end of the event, or even just people I coach is a lot of people come into coaching saying, James, I just want to know what you do. I want to follow you around. I want to know what the things you do each and every day, why you do them, how you do them. And this is my why and how, which is also very, very much connected to the very deeply personal parts of who I am as a person, where I come from, and why I love the idea of DIEM, which is the Latin for day, and the art of every day. And Deb and I have talked this book a lot over the last year. And it's the idea that, this is the thing that we all do have in common. We all have a day. And I believe our lives are made by very good days and hard days and the sad days, but ultimately the days that we lead and the days that we lead well help us create a life that we love. And this book is all about rituals of daily living, combination of science and spirituality and deeply personal parts of my life.
Well, and I know you're a very busy human. And this took a lot of prodding, I know, annoyingly so, on my part. Like, you got to just do your book. Because a lot of times, some of the books you've written at the request of someone else. They weren't necessarily your book coming from your story and your heart. And what I love about the practices in the book is that is how this book even happened. Because of how you do every single day. Like, there's no way if someone just looked at your life and your schedule and everything you accomplish in your life that they'd be like, how did you have time to write a book? But I think it's because this is you and this is how you put together each day.
That's a great, that is, and I, without any ego when I say this, I have a very authentic day. And it is really who I am and what I do. There's not a little wiggle room there. I'm very much dedicated to a certain path, and it's based on a lot of mistakes I've made earlier in my life that said, you know what? Note to self, stop doing this, start doing this. And then as I get more into my medicine and really started in practice, I wanted to learn more and more how to support my patients. And then now as a coach and a speaker, I find more and more, this is the stuff that we're all looking for. We want to know, and this is not a book about hacks. I am not a hacker. I believe this is a book about rituals and intentions and following through on intentions and the real why and how for why you would do these things and how you go about putting them. So if you're very, very busy, this will find a place for you, I trust. And if you're someone who's going, I need more purpose, I need more dedication, I need more rituals, this book is going to be perfect for you as well.
Okay, so are you ready to dive into the questions?
Let's go. Come on, let's do this.
Just in case you need to cheat, I'm going to give you... Just kidding. But I did prepare some questions, so you may see me put the glasses on and peek back at those.
You look sexy with glasses.
Oh, thank you. So for starters, what is the one DIEM ritual that you absolutely never skip, no matter what city you're in or how little sleep you've had?
That is, oh my gosh, that's such a good question. And it's, again, I want to say this without sounding like a jerk. I never, ever, ever miss a workout, ever. No matter how little sleep I've had.
Dare I say to a fault? No,
to a fault.
I don't.
I mean, and that is literally, it's my drug of choice. And if anyone knows my earlier history in life, this has been my lifeline. Working out has been the way that I get my mind and my body in a positive place. It's helped me overcome a lot of hard stuff early in my life. So yeah, this is the thing. This is my breakfast. This is my lunch. This is my prayer. It is moving my body. So even on very little sleep and next to no sleep, when I get to a new town or a new city or a new country, and you can tell me it's honey because you're often part of this. Like, Devil, when we're doing vacation, say, well, tell me about the gym. Do they have a good gym?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's kind of a big pressure for me because I literally have to build the vacation hotel or wherever we're staying around whether or not the facility has a gym, which makes it really interesting with VRBO, Airbnb, and those types of things because they don't usually have that. However, you're so good at knowing how to curate movement no matter where.
Yeah.
So if we're going to a place that doesn't have those, you're always packing bands. In the suitcase.
And all the things.
And you always have, fortunately, the working arms to do push-ups, sit-ups, all of that good body weight strength training, which is so powerful.
Absolutely. So that is my number one non-negotiable no matter what.
So kind of in alignment with that ritual because you happen to do it in the morning. In the book, you talk about awakening with purpose every morning. So what's the first thought or feeling that sets your tone for the day?
That's a great question.
You're going to love all the questions.
I'm going to love all these questions. Oh, I love that one. I love this one a lot because I think this is a really important part of everyone's life. And that is that 40 plus years ago, when I started really understanding the power of something called Dharma, my first trip to India, my first trip to Nepal, I really learned a lot about the power of a purposeful life. And I learned about that word Dharma, which is, for me, that idea about what it is that we get up in the morning to do that's bigger than us. And one of the greatest ways I've actually learned about Dharma is this idea that when your hunger feeds the world's hunger. And that's when you get up and you give yourself permission to do something that contributes to the hunger that you have to bring something good to the world, that you hope and pray that actually feeds the world. And I feel like this book is like Dharma for me. The ways in which we curate a lot of media together with the Treehouse Talks, all the things that we try to do for this community is really built on my hunger to serve. We are alive to the degree that we serve. So first thing in the morning, I think about my hunger to put something good out in the world and hoping it's going to feed someone, just hoping it's going to feed someone and help them to feel like, oh my goodness, here's my reason to move forward in my life. Here's the thing I can do to raise my life. Here's the way I can love myself and use this as my form of awakening and social activism. That's my Dharma.
So you bring up that word Dharma, and I always get confused here, and maybe you can help me. So I think I asked you this once before, but you know my memory. Eudaimonia, that's a Greek or Latin term.
Right.
Meaning noble purpose.
Yes.
So is that the same, just in a different kind of philosophy, language? Like, is there a crossover there between Dharma and eudaimonia?
So good, honey. Yeah, well, Dharma is a Buddhist origin, and eudaimonia is Greek and Stoicism. And eudaimonia is flourishing, right? That is this idea of human flourishing. So I think that you have to understand in your own world, this is very personal, right? Hopefully your Dharma helps you to flourish. Yeah. It isn't something that's heavy for you. It's not something that's difficult for you. It's not something you drag yourself to do. Deb also knows we've slept together for over 30 years. And I'm up every morning at 4, period. Regardless of what's happened the night before, it is my clock, it's my circadian, and my Dharma is what gets me out of bed. It's my eudaimonia.
That's good, yeah.
And so I love the idea of having these ideas around old Stoic philosophy, which is this eudaimonia, this flourishing idea. Now, University of Pennsylvania uses this idea of human flourishing as a foundation for happiness and well-being and positive psychology. So something thousands of years ago was finding its way in today's powerful ways in which we curate lives that we love.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if younger James, the boy who was told to set your sights low, if he could read this book, what area, what chapter, what concept do you think would move him the most?
Wow. I think there's two. We speak a lot about compassion in this book. So younger James had a lot of challenges. Younger James had really rough times. So I think compassion for younger James and self-acceptance would be tremendously helpful to help him navigate through the dark times. So I think compassion is huge, and then probably resilience right alongside of that. And we talk in this book about the power of resilience and the science behind how do you create resilience. And I think every single one of us here in this community would say, wow, that is up from these days. I have to figure out how to be more resilient. I got how to, stay with my purpose and stay with my integrity and keep my character in check. Those two things, I think, for anyone, but particularly for the younger James, not giving up, having that resilience, and understanding how common humanity and its relationship to self-care and self-love is the foundation of compassion. And I think giving myself permission to be human and not try to be superhuman and earn my love, that my love needed to be there always. And I think for anyone who knows how that feels, my goodness, this book is going to give you a lot of beautiful ideas around that.
And along with that, something that you've said over years and years that has always resonated with me is to never dim your light to when you walk into a room or allow others to dim your light. And I think that was really hit me in the book too, when you have the experience with your high school counselor who was like, dude, don't set your sights too high because you're not college worthy, you're not college material. But that, for that younger Jimmy to just say, hey, read this because you didn't let that stop you.
That is probably one of my most favorite parts of my life is looking back at that particular time, that day, when I was a high school junior and setting my sights as my senior year, thinking about college. And I was undiagnosed at the time as a dyslexic, horrible grades, not a lot of self-esteem in any area of academics. And I remember how that shattered me, because I was always this bright kid. I was a light. And I don't mean that in any egotistical way, but I had a lot of energy and I was very positive. I did my best to be a loving kid. And I just felt like, of course you can go to college, right? Because you're a good person and that's what you're going to do. Not being connected to the fact that my transcript, my grades wouldn't really support that. And then when someone just looks at you objectively and looks at your transcript and goes, you can't go, you're not good enough. So for me to take that and use it as fuel, and it wasn't like fuel immediately. I walked out of there devastated.
Right,
I was in a depression for quite some time thereafter. But this idea of resilience and finding your dharma and keeping your light on in spite of what's happening around you led me, and here, how should we say, not just 4 years of college, but 12.
Yeah.
Between grad and med school thereafter. Yeah. So
acupuncture.
And acupuncture on top of that. My goodness.
That's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years.
It's a lot of money.
I was really trying to overcome that day. So yeah, there you go. Don't dim your light to make the rest of the world more comfortable. Give yourself permission to rise into what it is that makes you feel that you are honoring what it is that you are here to do, and create rituals in your life that elevate you to continually build that self-efficacy and that confidence that you are worthy of doing what you are here to do and came here to do.
Thank you. I have a lot more questions. So if there's any that I really catch you off guard, you can say skip.
Okay.
Because this one might be harder. So you say today is day one, like it's a mantra. So what's the most recent day one in your life, and what did it teach you?
Oh, gosh, that's perfect. Well, last weekend, you might know, we shared this with one of our former podcasts about Anipi, which is the Balinese. Niepi. There you go.
There's the
dyslexia going, Anipi. And it's a Balinese tradition for New Year's, which was actually last weekend, where from 6 in the morning to the following 6 in the morning, you basically disconnect from tech. You don't have electricity. You try not to talk. You're basically in 24 hours of really soulful connection. And I came out of that going, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to start again. And so the message, I think, for day one, many of us have days that we're not proud of. Many of us have months, possibly even years, that we're not proud of. But every day offers a brand new way to wake up and establish ways in which you will be proud. You will have an experience where you go, that was a day well lived. And one of the things I do every night before I shut down everything, I eulogize my day. The day is done or the day is dead. It's behind you. What would you say was praiseworthy? What would you say to yourself about what you loved about this day? Where would you see opportunities for more things that you could have done in a way that was much more consistent with your character and your values that you want to be living with? So that is day one, and every day is day one. And that sounds cliche, but it's true.
Well, that's how you came with this title, DIEM, the art of every day. So thank you. That's very cool. All right. This is fun. Let's talk joy.
Okay.
All right. Okay. If DIEM were a song, what would it sound like? And who in our family would start dancing to it first?
Oh, it would be anything from Michael Franti. It would be The Sound of Sunshine would be perfect. Our kids grew up with Michael Franti since they were little ones. We took them to Red Rocks for Michael Franti, and our kids know every single word of every single song, and it is a mantra. Michael Franti is a mantra in our home, and that's an easy one.
Yeah. Well, how about his Today'd Be a Very Good Day, just to have a good day?
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Well, we dance to his stuff all the time.
We're dancing. We're a dancing family. We have drums in the kitchen. There's a lot going on in the kitchen.
Okay. Have you ever had a day where you ignored your rhythms, and what happened when you did?
Oh gosh, absolutely. And I it's not something, and unfortunately I'm a very bright, well, it's fortunate and unfortunate. I am very ritualistic. A lot of people who've had addiction in their life, when they heal their addiction or move through their addiction, they become very ritualistic. They need to have days that they're planned. They have things that they do. And I am one of those people. My days are literally broken down to half-hour increments for 14 hours. This is what I'm going to do. But I break in there. I put times in there that this is my walk time. This is my time to sit outside and just breathe. I break this day up with all kinds of fun and joyful experiences. So it allows me, if I'm off track, to get back on track. Because you get a rough phone call, you get a rough email. I mean, I'm a very public person, and someone doesn't like me, I'll just like, really, what did I do wrong? And I'll work on that, and that can trip you up for an hour or two, and then you're like, where was I? And you're gonna get back into your program. Every day I learned something about where I could change, evolve, and not let the stuff like that or other things that you really can't control your narrative. But I think that's what this book is all about. How do you have a locus of control, the things that you can control, and really building your world around those things that you do have control of, the people that you love, the people that you let into your life, the things that you believe in, the character and the integrity you lead your life with, the rituals that are connected to that. That is locus of control, and that is where our happiness lies. That's where our peace of mind lies. That's where our mental health is so absolute. So, is that a long answer to a short question? I'm sorry.
No, it's a little bit of a trick question because of the phrasing I used, ignored your rhythm. And I would say that we don't love the word never, but you very rarely, quote unquote, ignore your rhythm. But you have been in situations that your rhythm, you were going to be out of your natural rhythm due to a choice. And like most recently when we had like the really fun, like a concert, for example, we just talked about Michael Franti. Well, guess what? Michael Franti, why don't you start your concerts at 4 p.m.?
Could you do that for us? We need matinee concerts.
Yes. So we just, we've gone to several evening events in
we all the time. We do it all the time.
Yeah, in the summer. We love that. So guess what? It throws off the rhythm. And sometimes it takes another 24, 48 hours to adjust, but it's by choice. And so what happens? You get less sleep.
Yeah.
You maybe don't feel quite as sharp the next day.
Here's a way I look at it. Regardless of what, you're out dancing to Michael Franti, you get home at midnight, 4 hours later than I usually am in bed. And you know what I do? I still get up, and I know going into this, my high won't be as high, but my low won't be as low. I'm in a different rhythm, but I still follow through on the things that make me feel still resilient and strong and pleased with myself. But I'm not expecting maybe the level of zeal that I might have had if I'd been in bed and got 8 hours versus maybe 4 hours.
Great. All right, moving on. Chapter 20 is all about self-love. What's one way that you love yourself daily that might surprise or even amuse people?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Also, do pugs count?
They always count. When do they not count? Oh, honey, that's a good one because I think this is definitely something a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think as a self-love practice. It's cold water for me. And cold water for me has taught me so much about doing something that's hard and uncomfortable in the name of love. Because getting in that water every morning, I don't go in like psyched, but I think about what it's offering me at a neurochemical level, what it does for my mitochondria, what it does for my psyche. Days are hard. I mean, anytime you're out in the world working on a spiritual level and wanting to bring your best to everything you do, and dharma and eudaimonia, there's hard days and there's always gonna be hard stuff. But this trains me to be in a place where I can have the resilience and the love and the confidence. So getting in the water for me is an act of love. It's an act of courage, an act of acceptance. And it's an act of belief. I believe myself to be better after I get out of the water. And that is an act of love. I always want to believe in myself.
I feel like you were reading into my next question, which had to do with the cold plunges.
It's a thing. It's a thing in our house.
You've become sort of famous for them. And anything else you want to add? Because my question was, what have these icy mornings taught you about presence, courage, and showing up? But you may have just answered that.
I think I just did. Maybe one thing to add to that, there's science that tells us that there's something called the anterior cingulate cortex, part of our brain, that wants to witness ourselves following through in hard things. It literally grows as we grow. And so there's a lot of great neurochemistry behind this, lots that speaks to our resilience and overcoming. Any place you're working on a belief system that you want to evolve in yourself, it doesn't have to be cold water. It can be a walk in the morning that you're not normally doing. It can be all the things that you know require a level of pushing up against your comfort zone and transcending it. That helps the anterior cingulate grow with you and allows us to go out in the world and overcome other hard things, which the world right now is full of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that your mornings are sacred, but what does your nighttime look like? And you've talked about your bedtime rituals, but is there a certain bedtime ritual that brings you peace?
My bedtime ritual starts like at 4 in the afternoon, but I'm not going to bed at 4. But at 4 o'clock, I have something I call shutdown complete. It is literally all the tech is done. I literally shut my computer down. I go through my list. I do 3 or 4 things that I'm grateful for that I did that day. It's sort of like a self-reflection time. So I do those pieces, turn on the sauna, get in the cold plunge, do the hot, and the next hour is just a wind down, but an incredibly deep practice of taking care of myself after a good full day of work. And at the end of my day, and you know, honey, I've got so many quirky. I put on dark glasses so the light doesn't get into my melatonin. Kitty just joined. And so I'm doing all these things, but I think the biggest thing of all, sweetheart, is that I really, really practice the circadian rhythm of shutdown, and I try to be out of my mind at night. You know, the thinker, the creator. I want to be present with you. I want to have time with our children when we'll do a FaceTime. Those 4 hours are dedicated to loving my family, loving myself, and not thinking about the world. Trying to really just put a little boundary between me and the world, because I wake up and the world is going to be happening. So I think this is really one of my primary practices, and it's absolute for me.
Yeah, and I would say I would add to that just your immediate bedtime rituals would be eye mask, covering, earplugs,
complete dark in the
some
room.
Serious dog,
Oh gosh,
cuddles.
tons of oxytocin happening. Both dogs are in the bed with us. We're having that experience.
Very low, if any, lights.
Yeah,
on your bedside. Electronics are far away.
That's just something, offering anyone here today. Really, really ritualize your bedtime and ritualize the going from the human doing to the human being. Such a beautiful thing to have your mind and your body experience that shutdown and that circadian rhythm connection, that you are going down with the sun and you're giving yourself permission to really, really get in your heart, have a soulful evening, and be connected to things that make you feel love, peaceful, full of grace and gratitude. That is such an important part.
And very deeply resonates with my final question, because you just mentioned that soulful aspect. And if you could whisper one soul message from this book into every reader's heart before they turn the last page, what would it be? From your heart to their soul.
It would be, a book like this has lots of ideas. And for many of us, we think, oh my goodness, I got to get all these things going because this is what I should be doing. Take the shit out and think about the one thing that you know that can become ritualized. Think about the one thing that you knew when you read about it, or you know to your heart to be true today, that you knew if you would do this one thing, it would elevate the way you feel about yourself. It would help you feel more possible. It would give you more hope. And if you could witness yourself following through every single day, think about what that would offer your life to witness that coming alive in a practice that you knew was absolutely dedicated to you loving yourself. That is a soulful message. It's not about all the things you can do. There's lots. But what's the one thing that you knew spoke to you and could become your non-negotiable? And then you weave that into the fabric of who you are every single day, and you watch yourself follow through. Self-efficacy is a part of psychology. It speaks to the fact that as you doing what you know makes you come alive, and you're present for it, you celebrate it, you love yourself for it, and you learn and you grow and evolve, knowing that that one thing can become two or three things eventually, but it always starts with the one thing. That's the soulful message. Begin with one thing.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, honey. That was really fun.
Well, so I want to just add a few things, just because you are not a shameless self-promoter like most people. But what I want to say is, in addition to the book, you've curated an entire course around the practices. You have created an inner circle within your website that is awesome. We come together once a month. You can ask questions.
And there's practices there for every day.
Mm-hmm. There's monthly themes. There's downloadable meditations, blueprints. So many great resources there. What else do we have? You have your real high level Mastery Collective coaching. And right now, if you go to the drjamesrouse.com website, you will see you have that breakthrough experience that people can just check out. I think that's like a 20-minute video.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can purchase copies of the book. The hard copy won't be out until May 1st, but wherever internationally, all booksellers should have this available May 1st. So we're so excited. And that was really fun for me. Thanks for letting me interview you.
Can I do one last plug?
Yes.
Underneath my name is Dr. Debra Rouse, because this book would not have happened without you. From everything from your encouragement to your incredible. A dyslexic should never write a book without an incredible editor who's wicked smart and has objectivity. So, sweetheart, this book is our book, and I hope you get an opportunity to read this, and I hope you understand just why books like this happen. This wasn't a book thinking about what it is that we could do to sell a bunch of books. This was about a book that I wanted to write for anyone and everyone who I believe is searching right now for the next evolution of what's going to help them to curate and radiate a life that they know in their heart they need to, and to feel like there's science here so you can make it something you believe in. And more importantly, there's a personal understanding about what I understand about how do we all come alive, and sharing vulnerably about what it was for me to curate what it is that we get a chance to experience each and every day. So thank you, love.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you for the support of these last number of years. It is a blast to be in this program with you, this program called Life, our Dharma, our eudaimonia. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. Peace. Thanks for watching.
Much love.
For listening.
All the blessings. Bye for now.